Thanks for tuning in to this episode of I Have Something to Say, where subject matter experts are unafraid and unapologetic about sharing their perspectives regarding issues that impact our lives. They speak up because basically they give a shit. So if you're tired of canned answers and want to finally hear real people cut through the BS and talk about real issues, this is the podcast for you. I'm your host, Sami Heyman Marrero from Urbender, and behind our mixer is our producer, Chris Majoka from UdoU. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today we have as our special guest a new friend, Keith Hunter. Hi, Keith. How are you?
Hey, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm so excited. Just want to give you a proper introduction. So Keith is a former NFL player. So he's an athlete, entrepreneur, golf pro instructor, a college football coach. I mean, what have you not done? And he is a native of Newark, New Jersey. He started his business over 20 years ago, KGH Enterprises, LLC, and he has been really focused, and we'll get into that, as to how you found this passion for golf, but really focused on giving a different kind of golf clinic experience and really developing talent and athletes that are young girls, because you found that there aren't enough women, right? In the golf sport, and to create, a pipeline, where women are fairly represented. And there's much more, but you'll get to, learn more about Keith as we get to jump into this conversation. But it was awesome because Keith and I met through Kelly Burton, who's been a guest on our podcast before, because she had this show or this live, right? I felt like it was a therapy session, really. Every Monday, called Mondays with Kelly's, and she's on to do bigger things, so you'll hear about her. But we met there because then, while she had her live session, we were exchanging with other people that were on this platform on LinkedIn comments, and one thing that really caught my eye was when we were having this discussion about, about goals and pivoting and finding purpose and, social justice and all of this stuff. And, about working and making plans and setting future goals. And Keith wrote, win the day. Like, the focus should be on first winning the day. And I'm like, wow. Like, those three words just stuck with me, win the day, And so then I just messengered him and we had a long conversation. We spoke for like 2 hours about this. And so I wanted, welcome, Keith.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it was just so powerful because sometimes, right, we're caught up in planning and controlling and all of this stuff. And so then how did you land on win the day?
Well, I write all the time on my Google page and for myself, just writing about how to win the day, how to build a championship culture, how to get out of the wilderness. I'm all about those things. So I did a TED talk on how to win the day.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody else had 2 months to prepare for that, and I only had 2 weeks. But I was able to do that because I already did all the writing for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always doing writing ahead of time to be prepared, just in case something like that happens.
Right.
But one of the ways that I came up with win the day is that, every year someone makes a New Year resolution, right? On what they want to do for the year. And then throughout the year, they trying to see if that happens, right? So those goals are long term, they short term and long term. But, instead of focusing on, what's going to happen at a certain time, I think that you have to learn to win the day. And I learned that in college football, basically, and being a coach of how to win the day. So if you wake up in the morning before your feet even hit the floor, I have already conquered the day in my mind. So that just means that no matter what goes wrong, I'm going to find a way to fix it.
Mm.
Or I'm not going to let it affect my entire day.
Mm-hmm.
Because in my mind, I have already won that.
Mm-hmm.
I already overcame that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how I came up with it.
Yeah, I love it. And I can only imagine that in all of these different roles that you've um taken, right, and assumed throughout your career. First, well, just going to school and, pursuing your degree, because that's a whole other, right,
That's absolutely
pursuit, that and accomplishment. So, juggling all of that as an athlete, as a student, setting those short and long-term goals, and then becoming a football player, and making those decisions. I know that you went in as a free agent, and was you were drafted for the Cleveland Browns, and then went through that entire experience and then came out of it. How, like, what in your experience got you to this place where you learned that, short-term goals are great, and long-term goals are great as well, but to
right.
have this mindset, like, what did you experience that that got you to this point where you have this almost like as a motto for your life?
Well, probably from I learned probably it most from being a college football coach, right? And
Mhm.
trying to get the student athlete to see the whole picture,
Mm.
right? So someone like yourself, if I was painting a picture and I told you about the picture, right? You're smart enough to get that. But
Mhm.
if I give you little pictures along the way, right? That's
Mhm.
like winning each moment,
Mhm.
right? Before we get to the big picture. Then when we do get to the big picture, I don't have to tell you what it is,
Mm.
right? You'll already know, and then you'll tell me what it is, right?
Mhm.
So that's how I try to explain things to the student athlete. And so winning the day is a part of that, all right? That you have to, before you can win on the football field, you got to
Mhm.
learn to win in the locker room. You got
Mhm.
to learn to win among your team. I mean,
Mhm.
among your team, and you got to win, just win every day. So even if you failed an exam,
Mhm.
right, and now you got the news on that,
Mhm.
right? So are you going to let that affect your entire day? So now when you come to practice later on, uh, you're not going to be all there because this
Mhm.
one thing, was told to you that was negative.
Mhm.
So you have to know how to shake that off and win each and every moment to be
Mhm.
successful. And I don't really think that you can be successful fully until you learn to win each and every moment, win the day, the
Right.
entire day.
Yeah. And so then it's about small accomplishments, right? And they
So,
might seem insignificant. They might seem superficial even,
right,
you know,
right,
but yeah. So I'm just thinking, like, a lot of people now are going through a lot of challenges. And it's easy for depression to set in. It's
that's right,
easy for hopelessness
right,
to set in. And so I'm almost feeling like this mindset is very powerful to embrace right now, because it's almost like, what can I do this moment or today to feel like I accomplished something? Because there's always something that you can get done, There's
right,
always something that can, have a positive impact on yourself or on others, that you can, you can really not waste
right.
time, figuring out the future.
Yeah, but I think what gets you in trouble is
Mm-hmm.
trying to handle too many things at one time.
Mm.
So winning the day and winning each moment, that I'm gonna deal with this one thing
Mm-hmm.
until I exhaust it, until I
Um.
complete it.
Mm-hmm.
Until it's better to do that. Most people are trying to handle too many things at one time,
Mm.
right? When your capacity might only allow you to handle one or two things, but
Mm-hmm.
now you can handle four or five things. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you're not that good at
Yeah.
those things, and you may not be good at any of them because you're trying to handle five. But if you
Right.
handle one or two, then you're very good at
Right. So then it's about focus too, on
it.
having focus and determination and perseverance, and it's like all these other attributes that that come into play. Like, so what could you say, to people, for example, in these circumstances, to explore, because you were in college football coach, and then you went with your colleagues one day out to play golf. They invited you,
Right,
right?
right, right,
And
right.
that piqued
So
your interest and then took you in a whole other direction, and a lot of people are going through that right now, that they're like on a big pause, and
mhm.
aren't quite so, how did that happen, and how can people maybe take, this experience that you went through, this anecdote or this story, right, of your life, and how you at one given moment were like on this road, and then all of a sudden, through
Right,
discovery almost, right, came
right,
upon this other thing and then just ran with it.
right. But that's like what I said about the whole picture.
Hmm.
You're looking at my whole picture now,
Yeah, now, yeah, in
right?
hindsight, yeah.
In
Uh-huh.
hindsight, right? So, you know, those everything that I did in my life was a small picture, right? At
Hmm.
first,
Hmm.
one of the hardest things I ever done was try to play golf. Being an athlete and thinking that you're a top athlete and I could hit this little white ball is no problem. Was the hardest thing that I've ever done in my entire life. And
Hmm.
then I just got to the point of I got tired of people telling me what to do and try to hold the club and hit the ball, that I spent the money in it. So I always tell people I paid for my game. Meaning, well, right, which means that I went to schools. I went to golf school where I was
Oh,
the only single person there at golf schools. You know, having two-a-days, going all day in the morning and then go all day in the afternoon, then play at night for a whole week, hitting over 6,000 balls.
wow.
So, so to me, that's the same thing of trying to do anything, right? Trying to learn golf and really how to strike this golf ball. But more importantly, I was also learning at the same time to teach the game the
Mm,
correct way.
right.
Not only to learn myself, but to teach the game the right way.
Right.
And
And but
so
that was an unintended consequence.
that's correct. Absolutely.
Yeah, that was an unintended. Okay, so when you say focus, you
Right.
mean really focus. It's like all in. It's not some of this
Right.
half-ass commitment,
Right.
or I'm going to do it a little bit because six.
Right.
That's like, wow, like
But
real
that
commitment.
but that's the well, commitment. Yes, people can make commitments, but commitment and then focus today is different.
Mm-hmm.
Like now in college football, they bringing in mindset companies to help
Hmm.
athletes really understand how to lock in and zoom in on something,
Hmm.
which is, I think that's the hardest thing to do in the world other than golf,
Right.
is to really lock in on one thing
Hmm.
and focus on that and complete that.
Hmm.
is really, really tough. So to get a kid to that's a good athlete to focus on one thing that he has to do on the football field, that
Hmm.
it becomes natural to him, is
Right.
one of the hardest things in the world to do.
Right. And so when you did this pivot or this change and dove straight into golf, right? First because you just fell in love with it,
Right.
right? It
That's
became a
right.
passion point and you're like, "Oh
Right.
no, now I want to be good," because that's the competitive nature that you
That's
have
right.
already, right?
Right.
Yeah,
From being
the
an
athlete
athlete.
said, what do you mean that I'm a great football player and coach and I suck at golf?" So then you wanted to
That's,
be really great at golf too, right?
that's correct.
So then you actually had some skin in the game because you invested money
That's right. A lot of
into
money invested.
developing this skill and
That's
becoming
right.
a master of this, right, of
That's
this
right.
form or of this expression or of this sport, really. and
Right.
so and so one how long was that? How long did it take from you to like be at point zero to being a golf pro
I probably
clinic?
said just right, right. It probably took about 2.5, 3 years to really get on point because I wanted also to be able to teach people a certain way to get results
Hmm.
faster than you would normally get.
Mm. Mm.
So that's the way I teach today because I'd rather get you good as fast as I can so you can go tell people and people
Hmm.
can see your game and see the difference. And I that's the feeling I like to get from when I'm teaching someone.
Yeah. So then your personal sense of satisfaction and accomplishment,
Right,
right? Now you're done with that because you already got to where you needed to be in terms
right,
of your golf game, right? You
right.
won the day personally. So then
That's right.
and
That's
so
right.
then now that's where your satisfaction comes from like
Right,
helping others and get
right.
results.
Yeah, and hear them come back and tell me their story. The other day, I gave a guy a lesson. He had 3 lessons with me, and
Mhm.
he went out and played because when you're giving lessons to people, even though you tell them don't go play, just come and see me for a couple of times, 2 or 3 times before
Mhm.
you think about playing. They're gonna
Yeah.
go play anyway because they want to
Right.
see, what happened. And the guy came back and said, "Man, I played the best round I ever played. I
Wow.
hit the ball the best I've ever hit it." Because
Right.
that's one thing about golf, and that's what brings you back. You can hit the ball correct one time, and it'll
Right.
bring you back. But when you hit it correctly a number of times,
Mhm.
then you can't even explain the feeling.
Yeah, that's cool. Now, I was intrigued by this whole thing because we got into talking about the clinics that you put together, that it's not like every other clinic because
Right,
as a college coach dealing with youth and being, role model and a mentor and a guide and all of that, you learn how to incorporate into practice or
right,
right, like
right.
also the pep talks, like
That's
the pep talks. And so I was marveled at this really nice balance of the golf clinic so people don't feel that pressure, right?
right.
But then
Right.
also using it as an outlet to learn something new, not only from a sports point of view, but also from a human to human point of
That's
view. Tell me how that like how did you come up with combining the it's almost like golf clinic meets TED Talk and you kind of
right.
smashed it
Yeah.
together,
Right.
right? And then
Right.
you're doing this work. What does that look like? Take me through that
Well,
experience.
I gave the idea to, for instance, to Merrill Lynch
Hmm.
to create more customers for them. So I
Hmm.
went to Merrill Lynch and I told them that you have this service that you give your clients. Once you meet them, you don't really need to talk or see them anymore. You can just deal with them over the internet.
Hmm.
But that don't help you get customers.
Right.
one of the ways to help you get customers is those customers that you've been servicing that you really don't do anything else for, give them the golf clinic and then ask them to bring somebody with you and they go your new client.
Right.
So
Mhm.
I would do that around a breakfast or a lunch,
Mhm.
right? Or brunch, right?
Yeah.
And for the country club that I'm doing the clinic at, they never had that many people there at one time. So I
Mhm.
bring 20 people in to see their facilities that
Mhm.
wouldn't normally go to their facility. So
Mhm.
now I have the opportunity to show the client around the facility and show them what they have to offer.
Right.
So everybody wins, right? So then I would do part of the golf clinic indoor of explaining what this tool is and how you use it. And
Mhm.
then some of the clinics I used to speak. So for Merrill Lynch, one time I did, and it's funny that I can't remember everything about it, but I what I did was, in golf they say that you got to have an arsenal of shots.
Mhm.
So the people from Merrill Lynch that I was talking to, I compared their portfolio as an arsenal, just like golf. And I
Mhm.
compared the two,
Mhm.
that you got to have these arsenal of shots, so you can't put all your money into one shot or one
Mhm.
investment. And that's
Yeah.
why you have all of these different investments, and
Mhm.
that's your arsenal.
Yeah. So it's like a business, it's almost like a business pep talk,
Right.
and yeah, and business development and professional development tied into, the actual golfing and the golf clinic experience. Yeah. I think that that was really really cool, very innovative, idea that you put together there. And the other thing that really piqued my interest, because I've been on the golf course like twice. I have clubs somewhere around here. My husband likes to play, but I'm just so bad. I'm like, oh, look at the pretty birds. That's me. He's like, stop, you can't do that. And then I don't
Right.
like him bossing me around either. So, like hold the club here, there.
Right.
So yeah, yeah, he's annoying. But anyway, but where I was gonna get, what I wanted to get to is that I know the importance though of the sport from a business standpoint, because a lot of people do business while on the golf course. And so while
Mm.
and you don't have to be a pro like you to play,
Right.
but and also now with COVID, I also read on a chart that going out to play golf is one of the safest
Right.
activities you can do, you
That's right.
know
So,
so
so,
so I think that's brilliant. I wish you were here in Florida, because I would take some courses, because I'm like bored out of my mind, and I think I would give it a shot again. I've tried before, but
well, I came up with the golf clinic also because a lot of people want to do golf tournaments,
uh-huh.
fundraisers. So you
Yes.
can do the golf clinic as a fundraiser, but the difference is the people are there for only 3 hours, not
Right.
6, 8 hours that it takes
Right.
to do a golf tournament.
Right.
So you can be in and out, half,
Right.
not even half a day.
Right.
Come for a couple of hours to the golf clinic, make the same amount of money that you want to make.
Yeah.
Um,
As a
so that
fundraiser, yeah.
that's
Yeah.
fun, right? Yeah, and then you can still do the talk. You can
Yeah.
still do whatever you want to do, and then the really fun part of it is that it doesn't matter if you ever held a club in your life or not. By the time
Yeah.
you leave the clinic, the way I teach it, you'll be able to hit the ball,
Yeah.
right, and get it up in the air and see it go
Hmm.
far. But you could do a women's clinic by
Yeah.
themselves. You could do a men's clinic. You could do couples clinic. You
Hmm.
could do advanced players.
Hmm.
All of those type of things. So that's what I like about the golf clinic instead of just a
Yeah.
golf tournament.
Yes, totally. And that's how you can get people hooked and interested, Now I just like the idea now, with how everyone has to be social distancing and just being cautious,
Mm-hmm.
that it's an alternative. And a lot of people again are in like in a rut and get in a funk, and
That's
maybe this is one thing, to consider, to go out there, um, find the local, golf course, and try to hit some balls, and learn a sport that from a professional standpoint, or a business. Like, I'm an entrepreneur too, you
right.
know that you can dedicate, invest now when everyone's like on pause,
Right. That's right.
into something that can yield,
Right.
right, some positive, like some unintended consequences later
Right.
on, because then you could go out with the CEO of a company, which tend to be white males. It's like, but I can have the excuse of saying, oh, I play golf too. It's
But,
I
but
could, I could go,
the,
right.
the stress that comes with that of getting out there, first of all, when you go on a golf course, you don't want to go to a golf course and really not know how to play and tear
Right.
somebody's course up. So you want to be able to get some lessons.
Right.
And I tell people that all the time at the range. You don't have to take lessons with me, but I
Mhm.
would suggest that you take lessons, especially if you're going to be going on somebody else's course. But the
Right.
main thing is not you tearing it up; it's you're slowing down the movement of the whole round,
Right.
of everybody,
Yeah.
and got to wait on you and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
important to
Yeah.
get
Which is another metaphor, right? That
right.
when you when you're not focused on winning the day, and you get stuck, right, with the
That's
pity
right.
party, or
That's
the right, and
right.
lamenting, how things are not going your way, then you slow everybody else around you, that are trying to get things done. Yeah, that's actually, I never, yeah, I know enough about golf, about, how that's like a pet peeve of people holding up the game because you're not moving it along. Mhm.
Oh yeah. I mean, and then the scores are still around the country, around the world. The scores are still high at
Yeah.
over 100 per round.
Mhm.
So that's why they're trying to change the speed of the game and to help the amateur out as much as possible. But
Yes, yes. And so talk to me about, your dedication really to cultivating talent amongst female youth.
well, as any college out here today has a bunch of scholarships for golf for women,
Mhm. Mm.
and the American kids are not starting out young enough.
Mm.
And so that's why if you look on the LPGA, the Asian women are winning the most money. And you
Mhm.
may find a 14-year-old on the LPGA tour.
Mhm.
You may find a few Americans, but not as many.
Mhm.
So, over in Asia or wherever, they are really preparing their women for golf because
Mm.
now they realize that it's a money maker and that, they start working on them speaking English,
Mhm.
so to be able to interview because there used to be a problem that the Asian women was winning, but they couldn't speak English enough for the sponsors. So
Right.
now they done took care of both problems. Now,
Right.
I would say that the American girl is a better athlete, but that
Mm.
goes to show that it doesn't matter,
Mhm.
right? Because if you don't start young enough, it really
Mhm.
doesn't matter.
Right.
So to learn that game and the kids come in as sponges anyway. It's a
Yeah.
different than having a man who says, "Oh, well, I know what I just did," and then he
Mhm.
says, "Well, I picked my head up," and I said, "Well, I would have disagreed,
Right.
but that wasn't it.
Right.
What happened? Let me tell you what happened." And
Mhm.
it's hard to teach somebody who says that to you every minute
Yeah.
compared to dealing with a woman or dealing with a kid who you can get to the that athletic position that
Mhm.
you want them, and then they can repeat it. And it's
Mhm.
amazing how kids to do that. You will never believe. I saw the other day a a 2 year, 3-year-old little Asian kid
Uh-huh.
came to, and he put 6 balls in a row, and he hit all 6 of them without missing one. I'm talking about clean.
Mhm.
And so what ball he put down, he was hitting. His mother said he was taught by the age of 1. And I
Mhm.
said, that is amazing. Now, I start kids off at 4 years old
Right.
because they, at 4 years old, um, you know, they able to listen. If their parents are sitting there, they can grasp stuff from
Yeah.
4 years up. But I couldn't imagine teaching a 1-year-old like his father or his grandfather did. And then now this kid, it's natural to him.
Yeah.
He don't even think about hitting the golf ball,
Right.
right? Put the hit ball down, he's hitting the ball, and he never misses a ball.
Right. Right.
So
I think,
that
and that, yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was saying that goes to show how kids can grasp things. I say if you can be 2 years old and learn a computer,
Yeah.
then you can easily do that.
Yeah. So it's almost having also, when you approach this kind of thing, almost have a like a childlike
Right.
attitude, to learn and not be so defensive when, someone's calling your attention or trying to guide you,
Right.
to be more, like children when you're learning something new. Yeah. That
Well, what really makes sauce tough is it's the opposite of what you would normally do.
Mhm.
It's almost the opposite of what you think that should be done.
Mhm.
It's the opposite. So
Mm.
if to understand that is funny. But
Yeah.
you know, um, I say to men all the time, how to finesse the golf ball.
Mhm. Yeah.
You don't have to hit it hard to get it
Right.
to go the same distance.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's hard for people to understand that you
Mhm.
ain't to hit it as hard to go the same distance. So
Yeah. Yeah. So do you feel that women tend to be more receptive to guidance, as athletes? I'm putting you on the spot. I don't want to sound sexist. We're not, we love everyone, we embrace everybody, but they did write a book about, women, right? Men are from Mars, women from Venus. So there is some of psychological thing going on. Okay,
right,
people.
right.
But do you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the main question I get is from guys is that, boy, you got to be awfully patient to teach women. I bet you then you do have to teach men. But actually, it's the opposite.
Oh,
Because like I said, before men men come with they think they know everything or they think they have to tell you what they know. And I
mm.
said, oh man, slow down. I'm the teacher, so you don't have to tell me. Let me tell you. And women and kids come as a sponge.
Yeah.
And then, you're able to tell them and try to get them to repeat the same thing over and over again.
Mhm.
So that's what I really enjoy. I have a lot of women clients
Yeah.
um, to that's playing really good golf,
Yeah.
and that let anybody else touch their game. And then I also believe that all pros can't teach women. You
Mm.
you have to know how to teach women a certain way.
Mhm. And how is that?
Well, it's a little hard to explain, but let me see. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
I think, quite
women,
frankly, I think you're just you. I think maybe I think it's because you just deliver you. Like you're just
right?
yourself. Whereas
Yeah,
maybe with guys, since you already know what their approach tends to be, then you have to be on guard and be a little bit more,
right.
how do
But
you say?
there's there's other stuff that come with that because women, for instance, have different body parts than men,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So if I'm gonna teach you how to strike the ball and how to strike the ball well,
Yeah.
I also have to tell you. I may have to tell you you have to take your assets with you,
Right.
body part.
Yeah.
right? So you don't have to tell a man that, but you got to
Yeah.
tell a woman
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right, to
It-
help
it-
her understand
right.
that, most people believe that you're going to hit the ball. You got older guys that's still trying to hit the ball with their arms,
Right.
and they're not strong enough to do that
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so to get them to hit the body, to change them to hit the ball with their body,
Mhm.
it's very difficult. It's almost harder than showing them how to golf all over again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So once you show the women, that's what I meant by take
Yeah.
your assets with you, is
Right.
use your entire body to hit the ball,
Right.
and then the results are just so much better.
That's cool. And so, and it all goes back to what you started, to win the day, to get something done, you have to
That's right.
have full commitment. You have to put in
Yeah.
all of your assets into it, right? To get the
Yeah.
results that you want.
That's right. Effectively.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then if you're a part of a team, first you have yourself, and you have to learn how to win the day. But then if you're a part of a team, then you got to take that in consideration as well.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I'm writing about in my book, right? That I got
Mhm.
coming out in 2 months. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Talk to me about the book that you're writing, and what made you, because I know that you write already, but
right.
what when was that moment that you looked at the stuff you write and say, I think I have something here,
Well, I've been,
worth publishing.
I
Mm-hmm.
thought about that a long time ago about writing a book,
Mm.
but as I have matured and been writing for a long time just for myself,
Mm-hmm.
then really for me to write a book, I got through the book really fast too because I
Mm-hmm.
have all my material already.
Yeah.
I've been writing so long
Mm-hmm.
that I almost have all my material. My book is called Vulnerable Measures,
Mm-hmm.
and it just talks about me a little bit from being an entrepreneur, a
Mm-hmm.
golf pro, and a football coach.
Mm-hmm.
Being in all three of those different things, but how they are parallel.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm talking about um, athletics and
Mm-hmm.
really helping the parent and the athlete understand how to navigate through athletics from Pee Wee League all the way up to the NFL.
Oh,
And
wow.
I don't think nobody have touched on those things,
Yeah.
and so I felt compelled to be able to do that and educate people and give them some resources to go
Mm-hmm.
to look at it, to be able to handle a situation a certain way, of
Mm-hmm.
explaining to them how college football is a business,
Yeah.
and how they think, and what
Yeah.
type of athletes they are looking for.
Right.
So,
Yeah. And so what really struck me was the title,
mm,
Vulnerable Measures, and the topic, because when we think about athletics, we think about fierce,
right,
about being, aggressive, and
right,
and unbreakable, and
right,
undefeated, like, I'm gonna beat you, or
right.
and so why vulnerable measures?
Well, because most people see vulnerable as a negative,
Mm-hmm.
which is actually not,
Hmm.
right? Being vulnerable, love can come out of that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just like pressure, right?
Mm-hmm.
People look at pressure as being negative, but pressure can create a diamond.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same thing. So it depends on who's looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
So vulnerable is just being able to do the many things that you want to do. And if you don't have the encouragement to do it, then you're going to feel vulnerable or afraid to do it without knowing that you can actually make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like having a kid who want to play golf and finding a girl that never swung a golf club in her life, and then all of a sudden you got her. She's going to be vulnerable, right? She's going
Mm-hmm.
to feel vulnerable. you may
Mhm.
not even feel like wanting to do it at all. And then, and then, and then, once you show her the skills, then all of a sudden everything changed. But
Mhm.
I've used it, for myself of being a businessman, being
Mhm.
a college football coach, and being a, a, a football player, and being in
Mhm.
golf.
Yeah.
And, that makes you vulnerable by itself, just moving from one thing to
To
another. A
another.
lot of
Yeah.
people are afraid to do that.
Yeah, because of the uncertainty of it, right? And that, yeah, and that's a lot of what people are experiencing now too. A lot there's a lot of transition, a lot of people that are currently in flux, and don't know, what direction, their jobs, their families, school, just everything is
That's
going
right.
to take. And so, this place of vulnerability, is not cause for panic, basically, is what you're suggesting, right? That
That's
that it actually, like, something good will come out of it, like something
so,
positive can come out of it. That's great.
so it's just like I've been writing a lot of posts on LinkedIn about
Mhm.
leadership, right?
Mhm.
Being a leader, and how to accept things from leader, or how you're supposed to be as a leader.
Mhm.
Some people got it backwards. Like they think it's all for authority.
Mhm.
I'm in control, but it's
Mhm.
really not that at all.
Mhm.
Just like building how to build a championship culture. Building a
Mhm.
culture is one of the hardest things that you will ever do in your life,
Mhm.
especially to get people to move in a certain direction. That's when I was interviewing for a head coaching job, and I was
Mhm.
talking how to build a championship culture, right? So not only you're talking about the athletes, the football team, now you
Mhm.
talk about the student body, you
Yeah.
talk athletic department, but those people you're not talking to on a
Mhm.
day-to-day basis. So how do you get somebody to believe something that you want them to believe and
Right.
follow something without you talking to them on a day-to-day basis? I
Yeah.
mean, you got to put a strong message out there, and have your team represent that, right? To make
Yeah.
somebody want to be a part of it, want to follow it, want
Mhm.
to believe in what we're putting out there. So if we just said it's family,
Yeah.
right? This team say we're family,
Yeah.
right? So then you have to show that,
Yeah.
you know, you out there. People got to see it on their own. You can say it all you want to say it.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
but you have to act on it. Yeah.
all those different things that come with that. So, those are the type of things that I'm thinking about a lot,
Yeah.
right? To help improve something.
Yeah.
How do I get you to see, to follow or see something that I have an idea about without talking to you every day.
Yeah. That's cool. I guess your communications, uh, academic studies came in handy, with
Hope
piecing
so.
all of this together, right?
I hope so. Well,
Yeah.
you got to have good people around you.
Yeah.
My college coach died early
Mm,
in the year. Hayden Fry, which is
mm,
a powerful man,
mm,
that came to the University of Iowa from Texas,
mm,
and he was ahead of his game. So now, when you talk about building a championship culture, right, you got
mhm,
to make people believe something, right?
mhm,
That because before I got there, they had um, they had a losing season for 20 years,
mhm,
for 20 straight years, and then we went to 4 bowl games in a row. But to
mhm.
change that mentality,
Yeah.
to get a whole university, faculty, fans, and everybody to follow you. I
Mhm.
mean, people don't have no idea how hard
Right.
that is.
Yes. No, I can imagine. I can't even begin. Yeah. To see at that, large scale. and all of those different audiences to get them on board, how difficult. Yeah, that is. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, so yeah, so that's what that I'm always thinking about, right? I'm
Hmm.
always thinking about how we can improve this, whatever this is.
Right.
And that's why I'm always writing about
Mm.
leadership.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think I got some good things that I haven't put out there yet,
Yeah. Yeah.
share with the business world.
Yeah.
And but um, um, I was going to do a video on um, how to build a championship culture and take the elite sport programs
Hmm.
and show the business world from those elite programs what they're missing that their
Mm.
programs have that
Mm.
they on a day to day basis,
Hmm.
and that's how they at that level.
Mm.
So in the business world, I believe that you can do the same thing. You
Yeah.
know, there's different
And that's where
ways.
the parallels come in. you
That's
know
correct.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, by
So
you
how
excelling
much
in all, yeah, by you excelling in each one of these
that's
stages in your life, you found like all of these similarities. And that's where, yeah, it's it's like people that are left without a job and can't find something in what they think is like the only thing they can work on. They sometimes don't think that of those transferable skills that you
that's
can
right.
go into something completely
That's right.
different. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I was just telling somebody. I heard somebody say a while ago that they used to work for AT&T, right?
Mhm.
And I go, and then they got fired or laid
Mhm.
off, and then they
Mhm.
said, "What am I going to do?" And I
Mhm.
said, "You got to be kidding me! You work for AT&T, and T, and all the training that you had, right? Because
Right.
they was almost like an Apple back in the day,
Yes.
right? They had all the technology. They
Mhm.
would get the technology before it even hit the market.
Right.
Right. So what do you mean? With all this training that you go to year in, year out, and you saying you don't know what you're gonna do next, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, exactly. Well, because he doesn't have the win the day attitude.
That's right. Maybe that's what they missing, and
Yeah.
someone never taught them that.
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
But
totally.
like you and I finding each other today, you can do that on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
right? And years ago they didn't have that, but now you can touch that CEO or
Yeah.
make connection with a person in some type of service
Yeah,
business.
totally. Yeah, and
Yeah,
collaborate like this,
that's, that's right.
Yeah, I find it
And
really,
come up.
really, yeah, and come up with really great content and ideas and opportunity and
That's
new
right.
new approaches, to try to help others
Sure,
see it
you
too.
can
Yeah.
create your own. Right,
Yeah.
create your own without
Yeah.
anybody. I mean,
Yeah.
well, have the connection with somebody else, but today
Yeah.
you may not know what you're going to do, but tomorrow you may find someone like yourself,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden you're in business, and you're like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
now, wow.
Totally. Totally. But that
So,
final picture, you won't see it until you're actually there, because all of these things happen without any kind of really,
right. Well,
you just have to be open to it,
that's right. But like
yeah.
we started off, if you're trying to do too many things at one time,
Yeah.
right, and if you understand how to win the day,
Yeah.
right, win the day for you right now.
Yeah.
If you know how to do that, I mean, we all go through ups and downs, but if you understand that, I really believe you can get through the day. You
Yeah.
won't fluctuate as much
Yeah. Yeah.
in anything.
Yeah.
Right.
At anything. And also, realize that you have to put in the work, like that focus, that dedication, that commitment, because instant gratification is not as easy as it comes, as easy as it can go. So, winning day by day, you can really, you know, um, how do you say, create that future for yourself too? Huh?
Right. Well, I would convince your audience to
Uh-huh.
they can hit me on LinkedIn
Mm-hmm.
anytime to hit me with some questions, and then I
Yeah.
can get back easily, whether it's business, whether it's athletics, whether it's
Whether it's leadership or is it,
well,
yeah,
that's right. That's
or
right.
whether it's madness, like I don't know what to do. Yeah, that's awesome.
That's right.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you,
but
Keith.
what's funny about that, I mean, I had two within the last 3 months, two young college students
Uh-huh.
who were graduating and really wanted to know my advice
Uh-huh.
on what I believe they should move into a career. And
Yeah.
both of them was white guys,
Yeah. Mhm.
which I was surprised about because of,
Mhm.
courses that they had.
Yeah.
But they wanted to know from me, and they kept
Mhm.
calling me, and they
Yeah.
really wanted to get my idea,
Mhm.
and wrote down everything that I told
Yeah.
them, and I think that based on what I told them, they will be successful from there.
Mhm. That's wonderful. Well, listen, I really appreciate you. I'm
Yes,
so excited,
thank
to see your book when it comes out.
yes.
If I go take lessons, I'll let you know. I gotta wait for the kids to start virtual school, and then maybe I'll have some time, to step out while they're busy, reading and doing the stuff they need to be doing. But I really appreciate you, Keith, and this was a lot of fun, and I learned a lot too. And I'm really hoping that we can do this together again.
Well, let me just give your audience this last thing. It's called "Today is Always Here." Affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
Today is always here. Yesterday is gone, and tomorrow never comes. Time offers opportunity, but demands a sense of urgency. Now is the time. This is the place, and you are the one. So
Wow.
thank you,
Thank you so much. I love it. Thank you so much, Keith.
well, thank you.
This concludes this episode of I Have Something to Say. We want to thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to tell your friends about us. We're on Spotify and iTunes as well. There's more to come next week. And remember, if you have something to say, it's time to speak up.